Jenny Slate Deposition, Part 3. We're starting with pages 78 to 79. With respect to Mr. Heath going into Miss Lively's trailer, did you hear about that from anyone other than Miss Lively? I don't think so. What do you recall her telling you about that at whatever point it was? I don't recall anything specific, but just that she felt like they were just coming in. Yeah. You say you don't recall when Miss Lively told you this. Was it during the first phase of filming? I think so. And there was a break in the filming because of the WGA strike, correct? Yes. And that happened sometime in late June? I believe so, sometime in June of 2023? Yes. And with respect to Miss Lively telling you that Mr. Baldoni was improvising physical intimacy, did she tell you about that during the first phase of filming? I think so, yes. And what do you recall her telling you? I recall her saying that he was biting her lip when they were kissing. Did she tell you that he improvised physical contact that was not written in the script? Yeah, that's what she felt. Did you feel something like that would be appropriate? Schuster, objection. Something like what? Did you have any views on whether it was appropriate for Mr. Baldoni to improvise kissing or other physical intimacy that wasn't written in the script? Schuster, objection. I think it's appropriate to do what you plan to do in the scene. So in your view, if it wasn't planned, it would not be appropriate? Schuster, objection. It jumps down to page 85 all the way to page 90. Did Miss O'Neill report back to you about the conversations that she had with Miss Gianetti? Yes. Do you remember that conversation with Miss O'Neill outside of what's written in this text? Not specifically. In the text, you say that Miss O'Neill went through the general points of the unprofessional behavior and the feeling that I have that's affecting the work. Do you see that? Yes. Did you feel that it was affecting your work? Yes. Did you feel that the work environment in general was altered by the behavior of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath? Schuster, objection. Yeah, yes. And then you also wrote that you ended up telling your manager the whole deal, like just all of the weird stuff that Justin and Jamie have pulled. Do you recall specifically what you told your manager with respect to that? Not specifically at this point, no. And then you also wrote to Miss Lively that you plan to speak with Alex the next day and tell her about your discomfort and feelings of being unsettled. Do you see that? I do. So at that point, had you decided to speak with Miss Sachs, notwithstanding the fact that she had a longer relationship with Mr. Baldoni? It appears so. And what prompted you to want to raise your concerns with Miss Sachs? I don't recall. And then in Miss Lively's response, she says, because I haven't spoken to Justin or Jamie or Alex about the inappropriate behavior yet, you can just speak to what you've witnessed and experienced. I told Ange, but I asked her not to mention so that I could personally tackle, since I have to try to salvage some degree of chemistry and camaraderie with Justin, who is not only my director, but love interest, and we're not even 1/3 of the way done. What did you understand Miss Lively to be communicating to you here? Schuster, objection. The way I took that was that she felt that her work would suffer if she brought it up then, and that I should just talk about what had happened for me. To Miss Gianetti? Yes. And then if you go down, there's an entry from Miss Lively at 2:44 a.m. where she says, you were standing there for the thing he said to me when he said, I look hot. I said, that's not what I'm going for. And he said, okay, sexy. And then made a joke once he asked if he crossed the line. And I said, yes, that he must have missed the sexual harassment meeting. Now, you described this incident in your own words earlier. Do you recall Mr. Baldoni saying at the end of that he must have missed the sexual harassment meeting? I don't specifically recall that. Do you have any reason to doubt Miss Lively's recollection of that? Schuster, objection. No. When you saw this, you didn't think immediately, well, that's not right. He didn't say that. Schuster, objection. And correct her? Correct? In these texts? Yes. Yeah, I don't correct her. If Miss Lively had recounted something that you believe was inaccurate, would you have said to her you remembered it differently? Schuster, objection. I don't feel like I can speak to that hypothetical. That's fair. If you go to the next page at 3:18 a.m., there's a text from Miss Lively where she says it's a culmination. The difference is if someone said something to one of us, if we made them uncomfortable, neither of us would behave the way he does after. That's what's odd. He keeps referencing it or disconnects entirely or gets snipey and impatient as a director. Is that the experience that you had as well? Schuster, objection. Yes. Did you understand this to be in reference to Mr. Baldoni? Yes. And then Miss Lively says, he was so huffy after the sexy thing, I felt awful for saying something. Was that consistent with your experience? Yes. And then if you skip down to 3:28 a.m., Miss Lively says, what you said, though, is very self-aware. Neither of us are people who can't take a joke or who can't work or understand blue. We're not that fragile. You just can't record people without asking. You can't speak to people sexually while not in character or while talking about the character. And if you overstep, you move on. It's that weirdness after that makes it feel bad. Like if we speak up, the vibes on set get funky and the work suffers. Did you feel that Miss Lively in this exchange accurately reflected what was happening on set with Mr. Baldoni? Schuster, objection. In that situation that I experienced where he talked about her looking sexy or hot? Yes. And then the recording here, did you understand that to refer to the recording of the Zoom? Yes. And did you agree that in your view, you and Miss Lively were not fragile and could take a joke? Schuster, objection. Yeah. If you go to the end of this text, so we now go to pages 100 to 101. No, I'm going to hand you a document marked as Exhibit 12, whereupon Exhibit 12 was marked for identification. Hudson, Exhibit 12 is a text exchange dated June 1st, 2023, Bates stamped JS 333 through 35. Do you recognize this as a text exchange between you and Alex Sachs that you participated in? Yes. And can you tell me that it's Miss Sachs just from the context? Yes. And in this message, Miss Sachs sends you a note from Mr. Baldoni. Do you see that? Yes. And how would you characterize this note? You said earlier that he did not give you an apology. Do you not see this as an apology note? No, I don't see it as an apology. How would you characterize this note? I would characterize this note as acknowledgement that he received information from Ange and that, as he said, adjustments will be made accordingly. How did you feel having received this note? I felt that it was, not taking direct accountability and like lame, but it was also enough for me to feel like I could focus up and do our work. And yeah. Hudson, with that, I think it's 1 o'clock. Should we break for lunch? Porter, how are you feeling? Jenny, yeah, sure. Hudson, we'll take 30 minutes. Videographer, going off the record, the time is 1:01 p.m. This ends Media Unit 2. Time noted, 1:01 p.m., lunch recess, afternoon session. The videographer, we are now back on the record. The time is 1:38 p.m. If you want to watch the final part, which is part 4, just click on the link provided now.